Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app. Hey sports fans, are you ready for an exhilarating gaming experience? Introducing VIPClub.lv, your ultimate online sportsbook and casino. VIPClub.lv offers a vast selection of sports, from football and basketball to tennis and baseball. Bet on your favorite teams and enjoy the thrill of the game. But that's not all. Our state-of-the-art online casino offers a dazzling array of games, including slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer tables. Win big with their fantastic promotions, rewards, and exclusive offers. Join VIPClub.lv today and get a generous 100% match welcome bonus to start your winning streak. And make sure to use code ECSI at sign-up. Bet it, win it, and cash it at VIPClub.lv. Visit VIPClub.lv now and play responsibly. VIPClub.lv, your sportsbook and casino extravaganza. Must be 21 or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Visit gambleware.org for help.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report with Andrew McInnis at WagerTalk at McInnis Picks for Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. An amazing day today. Blessed and honored to be a part side by side with the guru himself, Andrew, as we break down a pretty nice slate tonight in the NHL. First and foremost, a shout out to the gentlemen behind the desk, of course, Joseph Shea and Evan Lewis. Talk about our proud partnership and sponsor, WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please run on over to Google Play, download it. It's free. If you're looking for a little flash cash, send an email to affiliates at wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Travis, Zach, who were on this morning, the rest of their team, their community, going places, and we want everyone here to be a part of them. And lastly, the VIPclub.com. Head on over there. Sign up. Some great bonuses. Speak to Jay, one of the best customer service reps I've dealt with for years upon years. Tell him ECSI sent you, and make sure you use that promo code at checkout. So without further ado, the star of this show, the one and only, Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Andrew. How are you?
Well, I'm doing all right. I'm plugging away with the NHL. It's hurting me to try and be disciplined and not fire away at so many games. Last night, though, 2-0 night, so it's a 12-5 start to 2024 with the NHL. I have some ground to make up in the NHL season, but off to a pretty good start. Got a good run, and at first I didn't like today's slate. Last night I looked at it pretty heavily, but I made the slate like me. So I got a few plays, got a few ready to fire on, and ready to go. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It puts smile on my face every time I look at your timeline and you're cashing a team total. And the reason I say that is because some of those times, if we just took the favorite and said, you know what, I think these guys are going to win. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to lay the 35 cents. I feel confident. And I think it was late last week. I'm drawing a blank on who it was. The team total comes in, and then they puke off the lead. And the next thing you know, Colorado. They lose in overtime.
Dallas and Colorado it was. Dallas, they got 4 goals, but Colorado wins 5-4. That was the best feeling in the world. And you know all about that feeling. Is great. But I will say, Dallas, speaking of which, last night, man, did they have me sweating. Man, puck line, regulation, whatever, money line, whatever it might have been, was looking great the entire game. But I think they were only up 1-0 after 2 potentially, or I think that's what it was. And I needed 3, and they ended up winning the game 4-0, I believe. I don't think there was any. I think it was a pure shutout. So 4 or 5. That was stressful because I'm really preaching, just like yourself, the value and turning even a -120 into a +105 or 10, whatever it may be. But you don't want to look stupid either and see them win 3-0, and that guy's looking at you with the puck line taken in the back of his pocket, waving it in your face. But it's a good feeling. And as you always say, more often than not, when teams win, they're getting us to 4.
And they are. And you go back a week ago, 10 days ago, when we were digging deep into that Vegas team who was struggling. I think it lost 3 or 4 in a row. And you and I talked together and said, hey, if Vegas becomes Vegas, the one that we know, especially at the Fortress, they're going to score early. They used to score at the 3-minute mark, 5-minute mark. They would always score within the first 10 minutes. And I'm going back to that Vegas Florida game, and they scored the first goal. Florida matched them. Boom! There comes the first period over, and then
I have to give you credit. That's all because of you. I tweeted. I that was a client play, so I thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and then Florida goes on to win 4-1. We only needed Vegas to do what they used to do, score that first goal in the first period, and Florida really took over from there. And I want to stop right there and talk because, we talk about teams on losing streaks, not getting in front of them, teams on winning streaks. If I wasn't there for the wedding, I'm probably not going to be there for the funeral. And this Florida Panthers team is playing some pretty damn good hockey right now.
They really are. It's a great point. And it's been beating good teams, bad teams, no letdown spots. But what's important is that they're getting back to the hockey that got them to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. I believe it's either 5 of the last 6 or 6 of their last 7 have gone under the total. And a lot of that's due to their defense because guess what? As you mentioned, they've been scoring themselves. It's pretty cool when you look at a team and they're going over their team total more often than not, but their full games are going under. That's perfection. If you're a hockey coach and you're putting up 4 or 5, but your games are staying under 6, geez, you can't ask for anything better than that. And you got to look at a player like Matthew Tkachuk. And, people have seen me say good things, bad things about him. And I'll take my bias Andrew Twitter thoughts aside because he was a hell of a player last year in the playoffs. Real big injury, right? Last year, he could barely put his own skates on, apparently. But what makes a great team great is that you've got the Barkovs, you've got the Verhaeghes, you've got the Reinhardts. They have his back, and so it's not just every single night that really he has to score in order for them to be good, or for this guy has to score, or the third liner has to score. There's a real great sign of depth on the Florida Panthers right now. They're playing well defensively. And, I think they're a good example of, no matter who's in net for them, Bobrovsky, Lyon, whoever it may be, they're getting good goaltending. I had people call me crazy for saying that they're a good Eastern Conference pick because how often do teams go back-to-back anymore? Tampa had a good couple years in a row. I remember when Pittsburgh had their few years in a row. But it's not often that teams in the NHL, and that's why we love this league so much, right? They go back and, it's such a different league every year. But their defense is part of their success, I would say, Jeff. And it's so cool for people like you and I because they're hitting their team total over, but their full games are staying under.
Let's go out west before we dig into the slate tonight. What are your eyes seeing out west? The Avs with a very professional shootout win against my Bruins last night, 4-3. Bruins go back to the Yotes tonight. We'll talk about that. We talked till we're blue in the face, and when we were talking here before the season started, the value of the Avs at 10-1 to win it all. The value of the Avs, I think it was at 5 or 6-1 to win the West. What are your eyes seeing out west right now, Andrew?
Well, I don't want to get sore by patting myself in the back. I don't like to be that person, but I did say a few weeks ago about the Jets being one of the best Canadian teams, if not the best. And I think I remember saying, forget about the Oilers and McDavid, forget about the Leafs and Austin Matthews. And, I have my fun with that team. But the fact is, this is a Jets team that has managed their salary cap very well. They've paid their better players. They got contracts taken care of, but they have a goaltender. And I think I said it last week on the show. If Connor Hellebuck played on any other team besides Winnipeg in Canada, he's on national media every night when he plays. He is an unbelievable goaltender. I think the Jets are the real deal. The Blues, I think, are a bet on team right now. They're down there, obviously, in the Central Division, but I think they have some ground to make up. I think they can kind of make a little bit of noise. And the good news is now here we are sitting in, going into the second week of January, you're getting value on some of these teams. Some of these teams that hadn't performed to the level that they thought they would. You're going to try and, seize better numbers now than you would have before. The Coyotes, I think, will start to fall off. Remind people out there, they were in a playoff spot for a few weeks, which is shocking, if not, just one spot out. Coyotes, the Blackhawks, man, oh man, that roster. Have you looked at that roster? It's no Bedard, and then he gets that hit on him, which some said it was clean, some said it wasn't. Foligno steps up and fights the guy, Smith, and he breaks a finger, I think it was. So he's out. So that's a little bit interesting. The Wild, I think, are continuing to be a bet against, excuse me. But I would say in that Central Division, I really like the Jets. I'm sticking with them. The Wild, to me, are a team that's going to be a bet against. But the Blues, I believe, can make some noise and can start challenging some of those teams because of their defense and goaltending. They're going to be an under team. They might be worth a looking at that. Avalanche, they got a real big goaltending problem. Defensive problem, I think. Makar and Devontae's and these guys, I get it. They're great, but I'm telling you, this whole defensive core is an offensive defensive team. You need some of the coaches to say, hey, guys, take a night off. Don't be offensive weapons. And I'll get some hate for saying this because, Makar is so unbelievable. I love watching him. And it's not just him, obviously, the bottom pairing guys and things, but they're always in the rush. They might give up the most odd man rushes against them because they always have a defenseman getting caught up. And then you've spoken with me before, Jeff, about the Allmark and Swayman last year. I remember you were talking about, should they shop one of them, get one of them up? Well, I think every team would love to have an 1A, 1B because pretty much for Colorado, they have a 1A and then they have a 1H. You know what I mean? Like they don't really have the B. I'm sorry, but no matter who's been the second guy, if it's not Georgiev, it's been a huge step down. That's the game that gave up 8 goals over the weekend to Florida. So other than that, I'm liking what I'm seeing in the Pacific Division. The Kings are sliding. They lost a few. I don't know. We'll talk about them today on the show, but the Kings, they can't win at home, but they can win on the road. How many teams are better on the road than they are at home? That's what the Kings are, a way better away team. And then the Flames, they're kind of a team that I've got my eye on. Here they are, third from the bottom, only 17 wins on the year, 17, 8, and 5 with 39 points. I see a pretty, favorable schedule coming up for them. So maybe a good bet on team moving forwards.
And I'm glad you brought up the Kings because we're going to get into that in a second here. They're traveling to Tampa tonight and on WagerTalk right now, free odds. I'm looking at the team totals and it's kind of comical. Tampa team total 2.5 over -165. Obviously, I would not be going down that road. But the Kings team total 3.5 under -145. So I can get the Kings tonight to get to 4, and they're going to give me 120, 125 at the shop. Kind of interested as I pull up the menu and flip it over to you. Your initial thoughts on those two numbers?
My initial thoughts is, as getting my plays and you and I talking before shows a lot of the time, I'm frustrated right now with this Kings team because I've been a part of some losses on them. I had a big 5% at WagerTalk over 3.5 goals. Jeff, 2-0 after the first period. They end with 3, and that's frustrating. But, long term, you're saving by not laying a premium, laying that big price, and losing to Detroit, losing to some bottom tier teams, losing to some better tier teams. And Detroit's actually a respectable team, I guess. But when it comes down to it, I'm happy they left their home ice. They're a better team on the road. I've told you that I want to try and get better at figuring out spots to take a team total or to just rock with the over. You shop around, you can still find some sixes. There are 6.5s in that game. What I love is you have a team that's dominated at home this season, the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team that's played very, very well on the road with the Kings, and both teams had to be pissed off, for lack of better words. I mean, Tampa Bay gets smacked around 7-3 against the Boston Bruins after the Bruins had a tough game their game before. Couple game road trip for Tampa. First game back at home, usually a cause for concern defensively. And this LA team averaging 3.4 goals per game. And a lot of that actually comes from their road play. And, the only thing that really worried me about taking the over is that I've seen a lot of defensive quotes from the coaches and leaders in this team. But when it comes down to it, when you're struggling, I think you got to just go out there and put 4 or 5 on the board. If I was playing the team total, I would certainly lean to the Kings side of the coin. But I think I'll just go with the full game over. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. I do have concerns. And I talked about the goalie situation there with Colorado. Is there a goalie situation in LA? Because you got Cam Talbot, but then you have, what's the second option? Phoenix Copley's out for the remainder of the season. I think it was ACL surgery. So that hurts them as well. So I like the over in that one overall, Jeff. I'm staying away from the team totals. I'm just taking the full game here in this one.
And I was looking because, I had an overnight number of Tampa minus 110, or actually the Kings minus 10 with a flat 6. I'm over to Circa right now. They got the Kings minus 131. You can grab the Lightning plus 120. I just checked confirmed goalies Talbot and Vasilevsky. And again, DraftKings minus 135, same as Caesars. And that's my problem here is I would like to take the cue here that the Kings win this game on the flip. And what's the hard part is A, Tampa's home, and B, Vasilevsky's in net. I'm not going to lay that 135, and I'm coming over here and I'll say I'd be more, if I'm taking this game, I will take the Kings to get to 4 or better. I will take the plus 125, but something in the back of my mind, Andrew, says this is a 3-2 final with the Kings, and we don't get that empty net.
I'm usually hoping you're right, Jeff, but I don't hope not this one. I've already locked in that over ticket, but I get it. And I think I'll put it this way. Maybe I'm the kind of guy that shouldn't read too much into this stuff, but you've got a veteran built team, a veteran coach there with John Cooper. Look what happened at TD Garden. They got embarrassed. They got destroyed. 7-3. Boston ran the score up on them. It was 5-3, and boom, all of a sudden it was 7-3. I just think that the old-fashioned Tampa Bay Lightning would try and turn it into a low-scoring game, but I worry about them defensively. I think people keep talking about this Tampa Bay team, what's going on with them this year. I don't think there's any offensive struggles. Kucherov's having a great year. Points playing well. Stamkos a little bit on and off, but their defense to me is the biggest problem. And when you trade away depth pieces, I know every time we do a show, I rip on the Maple Leafs, but Nylander just signs his $11.5 million contract. My quick thought on that is he deserves it, but should the Maple Leafs be a team paying everybody that much money? That's the Tampa Bay Lightning. When they had their success, they had a third line center they could count on, a third line left winger they can count on defensively, not offensively. And I think that Tampa Bay is missing that now. Trade away Yanni Gourde, trade away Andre Palat, some of these guys that maybe people in your typical household have never heard of. And that's the problem with them right now. They still have the offensive firepower, but I think they're missing the defense.
Big slate there. Seattle travels to Buffalo at a near pick'em game, which is hats off to Seattle there. The Sharks go into Toronto. Overnight, Toronto was minus 440. Good game in New York. Islanders, the Canucks and Islanders basically a near pick'em. Islanders minus 119 there. Columbus traveling to Winnipeg. Winnipeg overnight 250, sticking around there. Anaheim travels to Nashville. Nashville's been great of late at home, minus 220 there. Florida overnight, minus 170, now up to minus 180, some 190 at St. Louis. Edmonton overnight, minus 435 against a Bedardless Chicago Blackhawks. Ottawa and Calgary, one of the better games late night tonight. Currently, overnight, Calgary minus 140, now down to 124. Some money coming in on Ottawa. And my Bruins overnight minus 160 at Arizona, now 142 with a 6 under against Arizona. So the board is yours, my friend. As always, take it away.
Just a few to really go over, but I think the fishy line of the day is probably Vancouver versus New York, the Islanders this time. Look, it's not much of a road trip, right? We always say that when you go from MSG across the bridge and you're playing in Long Island, but I'm buying into the fact that it's kind of a weird number, and I like that weird number. I like the Islanders, but you know what we're doing. We're looking for that plus 105 number on the team total for them to get to 4. This is an Islanders team that's rested coming into this spot. I think that they are battle tested. They've been a little bit on and off lately, but if you look at their numbers over the last month, I've been looking a lot at these analytical numbers, whether it's been top 5 or top 10 this season, every week they are up there in expected goal for percentage. They're creating chances. Again, they don't have that many superstars. They don't have that guy that's leading the NHL in scoring. But when you looked at the Barzels, look the Brock Nelsons, some of these guys, they don't really make these unbelievable goals. They get the job done. And I like this team. And for Vancouver right now, they're still a good team. And I think that they're going to make some noise throughout the rest of the season. Their defense is what's sliding. Their goaltending is sliding a bit. You look last night against the Rangers. Sure, they won the game, still gave up a handful of goals. Now they're a second half of a back-to-back. They're a middle-of-the-pack team in the NHL. I went and checked that out last night. They're pretty much dead middle, like very middle of the NHL as far as how they perform in the second half of a back-to-back as far as their goals and goals against and things like that. But this happens a lot. We always talk in Canada about the Alberta double. There's also the Sunshine State double. Well, there's also the New York double, right? You play one team one night, and a lot of times you have to play that double header or the back-to-back. And it seems quite advantageous for the Islanders. They seem to always be the team that gets to have the back-to-back. So I like it. I know there's going to be a lot of people chasing that plus money, chasing that spot here on the Canucks, saying, well, they're a better team. They're a better team. This is why we don't bet with the standings. We bet with the situational plays and the spot plays. So that's one that I like. And it's kind of a fishy number, Jeff, but yeah, that's the first one I'll say. What do you think about that one, Islanders?
No, I like where your eyes are. Again, overnight Islanders minus 130 with a 6.5 juice under. Right now at circa Islanders down to 120. So again, the Canucks getting some public play there. But circa has taken that 6.5 under to 6.5 over. I love where your eyes are here. I can go to Heritage right now and take the Islanders team total over 3.5 and get that at plus 110. So why lay the 120 where I'm going to grab the plus 110? I like where your eyes are there.
I'm looking at Seattle and the Sabres. You mentioned that number there. 10 straight games for Seattle where they've gotten at least a point. They're 8-0-2 their last 10 games, which is super impressive. A lot of that comes from Joey Decord, their goaltending. I feel like the goaltending has been kind of the theme for me today, talking about some of these goalies leading teams or kind of hurting them. I know Buffalo's a tough team to take an under with. I kind of like the under. You can get 6 at plus 100, even money for these two teams. I think Seattle can stick around. I'm buying into them being a good defensive team. And I actually kind of had a back and forth with someone from WagerTalk about it. And I was like, no, they're not a good defensive team. And really they are, I think. And they're kind of a bend, don't break team. They know they don't have that star power. They don't have a team that can give you 4 or 5 goals every night. So what are they going to do? They're going to play defensive hockey. Buffalo, I think they're kind of turning into that team as well. They're realizing they can't be skating up and down the ice with teams every night. So plus 100, that kind of caught my eye there. Another one that's kind of a sneaky team total I think is worth a look here, Jeff, is actually Nashville. You look at their number here. It's a little bit chalky. It's like 130, 135, but I know we like to get the plus money here, but I think Nashville gets the job done over Anaheim. Anaheim's a bet against team for me. They're young, and when they play against really hard-nosed teams, this probably won't make my client card and kind of my personal bets, but it's something that kind of stuck out to me, how I want to play this. Maybe a better look would actually be Anaheim team total under 2.5. That could be a better look, but I'm really looking at this Anaheim team. They're inexperienced and they're small. When they play a hard-nosed team like Nashville, they get pushed around quite a bit. And I just like the way Nashville plays hockey. They're boring, but it's a good thing. They're a team that if you want to watch old school hockey, they play the right way. And they're a team I think that can, when they see a team like Anaheim come to town, there's no letdown spot. I believe they really kind of, trap the middle of the ice and really cause issues. I mentioned that over 6 in the Kings and the Lightning game. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, Edmonton Blackhawks. So here's kind of one that I think is a little bit interesting. I come on here and talk about some of these interesting bets, right? I think you'll really like this one. Edmonton, this is from DraftKings. Edmonton team total in the first period over 1.5 is plus 145. Isn't that amazing? The first period over 1.5 is minus 175. You're talking about you have to lay a price for them, or you're getting a short price for them to get to 5 goals. But I think that the Blackhawks are off a game that was undeserving, probably. The Flames struggled. No Bedard, no Seth Jones, no Taylor Hall, no Foligno. Pretty much no anybody that really matters in that team, in that lineup. You want to try and find plus money on this game? You can't even get plus money on the first period puck line. Puck line is minus 130 for them to win the first period. You're getting a good plus 145 for them to get. To put it in perspective, the Blackhawks are minus 115 to get to 1 goal. We're getting plus 145 for this Oilers team to get to 2 goals. I like that one quite a bit. Last but not least, Calgary Flames up and over 3.5 team total. I mentioned they're a buy team for me. If you look at this spot, you look at the Flames right now, this is nothing to do with how they've played. If you look at how the Flames have played recently, you'd call me crazy for making this play, right? This is more so for me starting a run, hopefully, projecting what's about to happen for the Flames, getting ahead of it early. The Sens can give us all the quotes they want. I respect Tkachuk as a captain, but there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and that's how I'll describe the Senators. They got all kinds of guys that know how to go top corner, not enough guys that know how to back check. I talked about it earlier with Tampa, with those guys they've traded away. They end up getting paid. That's what separates good and bad teams. Look, here we are, 29 minutes in. I haven't talked about the Habs yet. That's what makes Suzuki so great. Nick Suzuki's been nominated already, or he's in the top of the list for the Selke Trophy, which is the best defensive forward. Ottawa's lacking that. They don't have many defensive forwards. They got a lot of offensive forwards. Too many cooks in the kitchen, I'd say. Calgary over 3.5 team total is a good one as well.
Before we wrap this up, is there any props that might stick out to you tonight?
I had 3 ready. I was hoping you'd ask me. There's one that I like quite a bit here, and I'm shocked we're actually getting this price. We're going to rock with Brandon Hagel from the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mentioned how important depth really is for a team. Well, I still think they do have it, just not defensive depth. Minus 120 for Hagel from the Tampa Bay Lightning to go over his point prop. So obviously just 0.5 points. I do think Kopitar is a good bet in that one as well, but that one's kind of gotten out of hand. And we're going to switch things over to the Islanders and Canucks game. You know that that's a game I like right now for the Islanders to play really well. And if that's the case, I'm looking at a guy with Bo Horvat, not only to score a point, but to go over his shots on goal prop over 2.5. So just a few that I like there. I mentioned this one actually on the show, and you did a clip for me, and I appreciate that. Andrei Kuzmenko for the Canucks, he's gone under a point and no points for him in 7 of his last 10 games. He's getting cardio out there. The guy's just getting exercise. I mean, he better be playing well defensively. He has not found the score sheet in 7 of his last 10 games. But Bo Horvat, shots on goal to record a point, I think is a really good one. Brandon Hagel is a sneaky player there for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Anze Kopitar has been good, but again, I've kind of been getting away from the shots on goal props, Jeff. They're so on and off, but I feel like the point props are really good because, I mean, look at the Colorado Avalanche. If you bet McKinnon or Rantanen over 1.5 points every game, you're cashing tickets. It's not that easy on some of these teams. So I'd probably circle and say Brandon Hagel is one of my favorite ones tonight.
Well, I was going to ask you as you were breaking down the Canucks and Vancouver. It was funny a handful of years ago when the Canucks were in the playoffs. It was just Bo's coming out party. He went on a run in the playoffs that was like no tomorrow and kind of shocked the world with the trade when the Canucks traded Bo to the Islanders. So I kind of like that little angle as well. Bo, the revenge of Bo tonight against the Canucks there. So I'll definitely be keeping my eyes on that as well. A lot of people watching the show today. Obviously, thanks to you and your following. Everyone here, if you can give us a like, give us a retweet, go on over to Andrew's side of the world at McInnis Picks. Give him a follow. Obviously, you can get all his work over at WagerTalk. Jump on over to YouTube. Subscribe to my channel at East Coast Sports Investors and, of course, at Andrew's channel as well there. But as we always end this show, tell them what you got to offer over at WagerTalk, Andrew.
Yeah, it's a 12-5 start to the new year with the NHL, 70% with these plays. And because of everything I've learned from you, Jeff, I'll give you a ton of credit. And for the team totals, I mean, I used to bet these, but not nearly as often. So I appreciate you helping me out. The plus money tickets, guys, when we're winning them, that's great. And when you lose them, you're not really losing much off that. So 12-5, 70% start. So far, just 2 plays up for clients, but recommending those 30-day passes. You can go to my profile page right now, click NHL, click 30 days. You'll get a great price and join me long-term. You get one day, you're dipping in and out. I prefer people to join in longer term with me. Sides, totals, sometimes props. We're doing a lot of it here right now. And I'm full transparent. It was not a horrible first half of the year, but we're definitely picking things up over the last couple of weeks and looking forward to a big push here in the second half of the season.
No closing bell tonight as my co-host Riley, Southside Riley, as we like to call him, amidst a little storm, I should say, a pretty big storm in Chicago. So we're passing on the bell tonight, and tomorrow is Wednesday. Myself and Riley will be back at night. If not, both of us, he will be there. And then on Thursday, I will be back with Andrew on his channel talking some pucks, props, and a lot more. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at DC Sports Invest, the one and only Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at WagerTalk, we wish everyone a blessed evening. Cash some tickets, enjoy the action, and we will see you soon.